Okay, this is lesson 55, solving systems with 3 variables. Okay, so up until now, your teachers have taught you 2-dimensional linear graphs and the linear coordinate plane. So watch up on the board, please, because I don't think it's going to work on your iPads. There's the x and the y axis, okay? That's what we've taught you so far. That's all you know, right? And we've taught you where the lines cross, that's where your answer is, right? So, however, now you're going to be looking at the x-axis like that, and then your y-axis, let's pretend that it was on a table, okay? So, x and y, and let's say there was a new axis and it went up and down through all of them. This is your z-axis, okay? This is your third variable. Okay, so imagine this is the table. You've got a flat axis and there's a z-axis now, okay? So today we're looking at systems with 3 variables. We're going to solve them. And it's, again, the big picture is where do the lines cross, okay? And it's a lot of process, but you'll get it. We're going to spend a few days on this, so. Okay? Here we go, back. Okay, here are your steps. The big picture is we're going to identify one variable to eliminate between 2 equations. And we're going to leave a new equation. Then we're going to eliminate the same variable with the other 2 equations. And then with the 2 new equations, we're going to solve for each variable. And then we're going to substitute each variable back into the original equation. And then check your work is the last step in this process. We're not going to do step 5 today too much. We're just going to try to get through finding x, y, and z. Okay? So number 1, I'm going to erase number 2 that's up there because number 2, this whole problem will take almost the whole page on number 1. So, okay? So just focus, just watch, I'll explain it, you'll get a chance to copy it. So on number 1, we got 2x minus 4y minus 4z is equal to -2. The second equation is -x minus z is equal to 0. And then the third equation is -x plus 4y minus 5z is equal to -8. Okay? So we got 3 equations. I want to figure out which letter I want to get rid of. Okay? So I noticed that in all 3 equations the x is available. We could eliminate the x's. I would just have to modify the first equation. I would have to divide it by. I could divide it by 2, and the 2 goes into each of these, so I could modify the first equation. The y's, there is no y in the second equation. It's not there. There are 0 y's. In the third equation, I have z's. I could also work with the z's. I could multiply the second equation by 4 to work it out. So what my method I'm going to use today is I'm going to take this first equation. This is equation 1, and I'm going to modify equation 1. I'm just going to divide everything by 2. It's still the same equation. It's still equation 1, so it's going to be x minus 2y minus 2z is equal to -1. And I'm going to put equation 2 next to it. Okay, so we got -x. I'm lining up my variables. There's no y, so I'm going to put minus z underneath the other z is equal to 0. And I'm going to eliminate the x's because that's what I chose to do from the beginning. So I'm going to add the second equation to the first. X plus -x cancels out. -2y plus nothing is -2y. -2z plus a -z is -3z. -1 plus 0 is still -1. I just made a new equation. We'll call this equation 4. Okay, continuing. Going back to the original now. We combine equation 1 with equation 2, and we got a new equation 4. Now we have to do the same thing with equation 2 and 3. So I'm going to take equation 2. I'm going to copy it over here. I got -x minus z is equal... I'm sorry, I'm going to make some space for y. Minus c is equal to 0. Okay. And I'm going to put equation 3 underneath it. We got -x plus 4y minus 5z is equal to -8. Okay? So I'm going to take this third equation, I'm going to subtract it from the second equation. When I do that, these two cancel out. We get negative 4y. Then we have negative z minus negative 5z is plus 5z. I'm sorry, not 5z. Is that right? No, plus 4z. Plus 4z. And 0 minus a negative 8 is positive 8. Okay? So this is now my new equation 5. Okay? Now I have two equations, 4 and 5. I'm going to combine them and put them together. So I need to now do a systems of equations problem with these two. So we got negative 2y minus 3z is equal to negative 1. That's equation 4. And then we have equation 5 underneath it. We got negative 4y plus 4z is equal to 8. It's equation 5. Now, I ask myself, what do I want to eliminate here? Y's or z's? I think I'm going to eliminate the y's, okay? Now, when I got to this point, I should have thought, which one would I want to eliminate from this point before writing it down? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply equation 4. I'm going to modify equation 4 by multiplying it by 2. Okay? So I'm going to erase it. I want to multiply it by 2 because I want the y's to be the same number. Do you see that? Are they the same number right now? This is a 2, this is a 4. So I'm going to multiply equation 4 by 2. I'm going to actually rewrite it. So I'm going to erase it and multiply by 2. I'm modifying it. It doesn't change what it is. You're just multiplying it by 2. So we got negative 4y minus 6z is equal to negative 2. Okay. Now I'm ready to eliminate the y's. So negative 4y, I'm going to subtract. Negative 4y minus negative 4y. These cancel out. Negative 6z minus 4z is negative 10z. And then we got negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 10. So z is equal to 1. Okay? That's my first one. I just figured out what z was. Now I'm going to figure out what y is. I'm going to put z back into equation 4 or 5. I'll take equation 4 again. I'm going to, instead of putting z, I'm going to substitute in positive 1. So we got negative 2y minus 3z, which is 3 times 1, is equal to negative 1. So we got negative 2y minus 3 is equal to negative 1. Negative 2y is equal to positive 2. So y is equal to negative 1. So now we have two variables. We have negative 1 for y and 1 for z. Now we have to figure out what x is. So since we have two of them, I could go back to the original equations, 1, 2, or 3, and I could I could replace or substitute these y's in for z and y. Okay, I'm going to take equation 2 because that one's really easy. There's only two variables to deal with. So we have negative x minus z. Instead of z, I'm putting in 1 is equal to 0. So we have negative x is equal to 1, but we don't want a negative x, so we're going to switch the signs on both sides, divide both sides by negative 1. So we got x is equal to negative 1. Okay? So now I have my three values, x, y, and z. Now I have to write my final answer in the form of a coordinate for our three-dimensional plane. So we're going to write it as x, y, and z as our final answer. Okay? So x we said was negative 1, y we said was negative 1, and z is 1. Okay? So this is our final answer. That's our coordinate, or our solution for the system. At this point, we would check the work, but we're going to do that tomorrow because I want you to just focus on getting to this answer, okay? So this is pretty hard, okay? So watch again. Watch me. Look up here, please. Please look up here. First thing you do, you have to figure out which of my three variables I'm going to eliminate. So this one, and this one are all, the x's are there, they're available. I can eliminate the x's. There isn't a y in the middle here, so I don't want to eliminate y's, but I can eliminate the z's. But I chose to do the x's, so I divided the first equation by 1 and modified it, rewrote it here, and I put equation 2 next to it. I eliminated the x's to get a new equation 4. Did the same thing with equation 2 and 3. Eliminated x's there to get a new equation for 5. So all I have is y's and z's. I put 4 and 5 together. Before I put 4 down, I modified it again. I subtracted to eliminate to get to z. Then I substituted z back in equation 4, and I got y is equal to -1. And then I went back to equation 2 and substituted I substituted z and y for -1 and 2 and 1, and I figured out x is equal to -1. So this is my final answer. I wrote it as x, y, and z. Question? Yes. We aren't going to graph them right now. We're just going to do this first. So graphing them is just, we just graph a point if we're ever going to graph, okay?
So you have to use that word every time, like 1, 2.
Yeah, it kind of could go different ways depending on how the problem goes, but always the first step you have to think, what one variable can I eliminate from the top? You have to make a choice at the beginning, okay? So it can be x, y, and z, and x, y, or z has to be in all 3 of them, okay? Yes, questions? Yes, you should go to the nurse's office. Do you need a friend to come with you? Okay. Now we're going to do number 2 together. Ooh. Number 2 together.
Can you do it on your whiteboard?
You can. You could do it on your whiteboard. If you want to open up your Show Me app, you could double click and go to Show Me. Okay? Or you know what you could do is even you could do a picture. Do a picture shot of the screen. Go back to Nearpod, do a picture shot, and then you could download that picture into the Show Me app, and then you don't have to copy the problem down. Does that make sense? Okay? So, I don't hear anyone doing that, but you just hold the home and the power button. Do a screenshot of this screen, and then go to Show Me, and then import it. Please, which one do you want to eliminate? X's. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, let's name these. This is equation 1. You have to stay organized. This is part of math, as you're learning precision and organization. 2 and 3. Okay, that's a big deal. Then we're going to write equation 1 next to equation 2. So we got 2x minus 2y plus 3z is equal to 12. Equation 2, I'm going to put right beneath it, negative 2x minus y minus 3z is equal to 0. Okay, what am I going to do with equation 2? Am I going to add, subtract, or what? Add it. Okay, I'm adding it. So when I do that, the x's, they cross out. Negative 2y plus negative y is negative 3y. And then 3z plus negative 3z, oh, that cancels out too. So 12 plus 0 is 12. So what's my y going to be equal to? Let's solve for y. What's y equal to? Oh, nice. So this one is a special case because it's you don't have to do all this extra work already. So that's sweet. We figured out what y is. Let's see if y works for the other one. Let's put 2 and 3 together now. Okay, so 2. Let's write equation 2 and 3 next to each other. So we got negative 2x minus y minus 3z is equal to 0. Put equation 3 underneath it. We got 2x plus y minus 5z is equal to 0. Okay? So what am I going to do with equation 3? Add or subtract it? Add it. Good. So when I do that, the x is crossed out, the y is crossed out. So we got negative 8z is equal to what? What's z equal to? Oh, nice. So now I have two of my three answers. What do I do to get the third one? What's that? Just plug them back in. Which one do you want to use? We don't have to put 1 and 3 together. No. So we put it back into any equation. Which one did you guys choose? Okay, equation 3. Here we go. So we got equation 3. Doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. 2x. Actually, there are times you won't get the same answer, but today you will. Okay, so we're plugging instead of x. Well, we need to keep x because we're solving for x. Our y is going to be negative 4. And then our z is negative 5 times 0. And all of that is equal to 0. So we got 2x minus 4 minus 0 is equal to 0. So we'll just keep 0 out. So 2x is equal to 4. So x is equal to what? 2, right? Now I got a question. How do I write my final answer? 2 negative 4 0. Good. There's your answer. So someone asked you, do you always make equation 4 and 5? In this case, it didn't work out. But you always pair up equations 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 together, okay? Did you hear that?
Yup.
Okay,
1 and 2
2 and 3 together. Make sense?
That's why I was asking really, like, it's always that order.
Yeah. Sometimes you could pair them differently. You could do 1 and 3 and 2 and 3 together. Or you could do...
It just depends on the problem.
It just depends what you choose, but you have to stay consistent. Yeah. Okay? So now that's the solution. So let's see how you did. You didn't erase it, right? It's okay if you did. That whiteboard is really just really helping, okay? Alright, so let's...
Do another one now.
You want to do another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's do another one. Number 3 now. Let me erase some of this other stuff. Number 3, you could do that picture thing that I taught you if you want to copy it to your whiteboard. Here's number 3. Okay, so which variable do you want to get rid of in this example? Okay, z's. Okay, so here you go. I'm going to get rid of the z's. I'm going to erase this 3 so I have a little more room to work with. This is equation 1, 2, and 3. I always want to stay organized when I'm working through my math problems. So let's put equations 1 and 2 together. So we got negative x plus 4y plus z is equal to negative 8. Then we got equation 2, we got 4x minus 5y minus z is equal to 21. Okay, what am I going to do with equation 2? I'm trying to get rid of the z's. Do I add or subtract it? Add. Okay, good. So when I do that, we know that the z's will cancel out. So negative x plus 4x is 3x. 4y plus negative 5y is negative y. And negative 8 plus 21 is... Negative 8 plus 21 is? 13. Good. So this is a new equation. We don't have anything that's really isolated. So this is equation 4 now. Okay? Now, let's go to put 2 and 3 together. Equation 2, again, I'm copying, is going to be 4x minus 5y. Minus z is equal to 21. Then we have equation 3. We have 5x minus 3y minus z is equal to 23. What am I going to do with equation 3 to get rid of the z? Add or subtract it? We're going to subtract, right? Because we have negative z minus negative z will cancel out. So we're doing a subtraction sign here. Okay, 4x minus 5x is negative x. Negative 5y minus negative 3y is negative 2y, which is all equal to negative 2. Okay, this is equation 5. Okay, what do I do next? Turn to your neighbor, tell him what do I do next with my new equations. What do we do next?
Don't you make them 1?
Okay, so what do we need to do with it in the next step? Put them together. Okay, so I got a question for you. Shh, listen up, please. Let's think ahead. Which variable would you want to get rid of, the x's or the y's?
Why?
Okay, why do you want to do that? It's a smaller number, but this is negative 2y and this is negative y. What would I need to do with equation 4? Multiply by? Let's multiply by 2. Okay, we can even multiply by negative 2 if you want. So let's take equation 4. I'm going to multiply by negative 2, okay? So we got 4. I'm just modifying it. It's negative 6x plus 2y is equal to negative 26. Equation 5 is negative x minus 2y, I multiply by negative 2, is equal to negative 2. Okay, so what am I going to do with equation 5 now? Add or subtract it? What should I do? Add it, right? Because I want to go 2y plus negative 2y cancels out. So now we have negative 6x plus negative x is negative 7x. Negative 26 plus negative 2 is negative 28. Divide both sides by negative 7. So we get x is equal to what? Good. Now, how do I figure out the next variable? How do I go back and figure out y? What do I need to do? Plug it into which one? What equation? No, which one? It can't be any one. Should we do 1, 2, or 3? No, why not? Would we figure out what y is if we did 1, 2, or 3 at this point? No, because there's 3 variables, right? So which one should we go to? Okay, let's do 5. Okay, 5 is nice because there's just a negative x and negative 2y. So going back to 5, it's going to be negative x. So it's going to be a negative 4 minus 2y is equal to negative 2. So we got negative 2y is equal to positive 2. So y is equal to negative 1. Okay? Now how do I find what z is? Plug it into which one? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Okay, 1, right? 1, 2, or 3, right? Because those are the ones that have z. So we're going to plug it into number 1. Because that one has a positive z. I'm going to go back up to here. I ran out of space underneath. Positive 1. So we got negative x. So it's going to be negative 4 plus 4y. So it's 4 times our y that we figured out. So it's 4 times negative 1. Plus z is equal to negative 8. Okay, so we got negative 4 minus 4 plus z is equal to negative 8. So we got negative 8 plus z is equal to negative 8. So z is equal to what? 0. Nice. Okay, so how do I write my final answer now? What? X, Y, Z, so it's going to be what? 4, negative 1, 0. Okay? Takes quite a bit of work, right? Okay, so this is systems of equations with 3 variables. Okay? And I'll end the recording there, okay?